The future of player value in RuneScape, a message from Mod Pips. I think it's about time I talk about this. This was released, I believe, yesterday. That's what this date stamp says, but I saw it today, just a day later. It's not that big of a deal. But since I had quit RuneScape, earlier this year, I've been keeping up with what jagex has been doing this whole time. Ever since the release of Necromancy, I kind of just fell into this idea that maybe the game wasn't going in the way I liked, and I felt like maybe that was true for a lot of players. And yeah, I think that's important that I talk about this now, because it looks like jagex is starting to listen. I think it deserves some spreading. Yeah, so let's get into it. Hello, Scapers. You may have seen the recent player value survey that caused quite a bit of speculation in the community. Today, I want to talk about that survey and what comes next. Just before I do, I want to quickly reflect on the past few months and how the RuneScape team have embraced their mission to be more player involved than ever. This is 100% true. If you've not done the survey, that's fine. I did do the survey, and it goes into microtransactions and stuff along that sort, right? It was a little bit weird answering some of the questions because you're kind of reflecting on what jagex was like previously, and hearing this now, it's kind of actually really good news. All right, let's continue. When I look at the recent RuneScape ahead showing nearly a year of content ahead of us, or the much increased transparency of the content development through things like right-click examine, through to getting back to regular content releases that deliver on what you want to see, I can really see the progress. I hope you feel it too. This, I think, is very important. In recent time, I've very much felt that RuneScape 3, or the jagex team for RuneScape 3, is much more transparent than they were previously, and it's honestly refreshing. It's great to see that jagex is finally doing something new. It's really eye-opening. It's awesome. It's definitely revitalized my interest in the game. While content is the main part of the tapestry that is RuneScape, there are other aspects of the game too, including the commercial features like membership, premier membership, bonds, Solomon Store, and Treasure Hunter. Just as the 2024 player survey provided valuable insight that inspired our latest content roadmap, we felt it was time to expand our efforts assessing the other offerings within RuneScape. Basically, they're talking about maybe adapting this, maybe changing what it means for MTX to exist in the game. All right, the survey. A few weeks ago, the team launched a bespoke player value survey to dive deeper into your perspectives on offerings beyond membership, including Treasure Hunter and Solomon Store, and how they impact your experience with RuneScape. Yes, it was actually a pretty good survey. Some of it, like I said, was a little bit deceiving because it's like, okay, jagex, I feel like this is a trap. Very interesting. I don't know if I could link the survey in the description, but if I can, I will, for you to just kind of experience it yourself. But I'm pretty sure the survey is closed. It's been a while since we did a survey that delved into MTX in this depth, and it was important to do it in a way that allows us to get more quantified view of player responses across the representative cross-section of the community. That included asking some pretty direct questions that you're probably not used to seeing from us. Again, yeah, this is exactly true, and that's probably why the survey felt a little awkward or weird. Even for me, when I was answering it, it's like, I feel like this could go in a bad direction if I answer this truthfully. So yeah, it's really nice to get this post because it's kind of reassuring. While I can't go into the results given they are commercially sensitive, there were a lot of important perspectives shared with us in that survey. Most importantly, it led us to a major decision. We are committing to a player consultation on the MTX offerings in RuneScape. Basically, this is saying that they can't really talk about it as a company because obviously it has economic impact, but they are stating that players now have an impact on the direction of where microtransactions go, or even if they exist in the game. That's super duper important. What this means. So what do I mean when I talk about community consultation? In essence, we are willing to explore meaningful changes to MTX offerings in RuneScape. By working with the players in a community consultation, we get to better understand more about what the issues are and why, and to explore new ideas and potential alternatives, balanced in ensuring we're responsibly meeting the financial needs of the game. This isn't a yay or nay approach, but a process influenced by feedback. This is kind of a big one to talk about or discuss. I do believe this is important to the game's future. This is basically talking about how the players are deciding what happens to microtransactions in the game, but there's still a requirement for the jagex team to have money, right? Like, these people still need to get paid. They are working. They are people. They still need to get home with money in their wallets, right? So I think I can explain this very simply. Like, basically they're saying it has to be this way or else, right? It's not like everyone's just gonna be like, remove MTX and then it's blah, blah, blah. It's gonna be more of a back and forth trying to figure out what is the best option available. I want to be straight with you that this is not a quick or simple path. Our community is large and diverse, meaning we have a range of different views, and any change can impact different players in different ways. Yes. Okay, I feel like I should talk about this a little bit. Basically, like, the current MTX in the game, people already kind of bought it, enjoy it, they love that content, and it's important to understand those players, because if you remove MTX as a whole, just straight wipe it clean from the game, those players that might have enjoyed that part of the game might not want to play anymore because you removed it. So that's really not good. Like, say someone loves cosmetics and you remove all MTX, and that includes just deleting the cosmetics, that person might feel a little bit hard done by, and they might quit the game, which is something very important to consider. We would not want to do that to the player base. I don't know how large or how many players are, involved in MTX, but I presume it's quite big, right? But yeah, it's important that jagex really does take that in consideration, especially the players as well. That needs to be corroborated between the two. All right, we need to consider those who do find value in what's currently offered and understand how it may affect their willingness to play the game. Again, I just discussed that, especially given many of these offerings have been in the game almost as long as they haven't now. Yeah, for example, like proteins, portables, along those things, even the cosmetics, all those things are purchasable, and even oddments like that too. All those things have been in the game for a very long time, and people have become adapted to it in some sense. Some people use it and they like it, and I feel like it's really important to understand that. Like, people want change, but at the same time, some people don't. So it's really important to consider this, right? We need to understand what value we offer that is positive, and how we could explore options that build on that in a way that feels right to most players. Again, basically, where do we move MTX to? Like, how do we implement it into the game if people still want it? It's really important that we, as players as well, understand this. Critically, for long-term prospects of the game, decisions we make have a business reality to them too. We must ensure we are making considered changes that keep RuneScape development financially healthy. Again, they're just re-elaborating that jagex is a company. They need to make money. It's kind of a harsh reality, right? For example, if the consultation leads us down a path where we consider the removal of Treasure Hunter, we would need to explore what alternative offerings we could counterbalance the impact of that decision. Again, I think this is only true if they're trying to keep the jagex size the same, which I obviously think they are going to try to do that. But in that case, yes, this probably would be true. Yeah. All that said, this is a challenge we are ready for and excited to work with players to explore the possibilities. This is the most important statement they've had so far in this whole thing. Yeah, it's incredible. I feel like this is what's really been pulling me back into the game. They're extremely transparent these days. They're talking more and more about things that I thought were big problems in the game. There's a couple of things they have not touched on yet, but I will probably make some videos in the future talking about it. But yeah, it's really good to see that jagex is starting to finally hear the people, the players. They're finally starting to become more transparent and talk with the players about the problems or perceived problems with the game and doing something about it. The next steps. This is the first time in RuneScape's history we've decided to do anything like this. Not wrong. For sure, that will be an exciting prospect. For others, it won't be nearly enough. Again, some people want the full removal of MTX and more, me being one of them, but I understand there's limitations, right? We aren't promising what will come out of this, but we are committing to taking it seriously. Again, this is another important part of this. Basically, they're saying we're not going to promise the removal of MTX, right? They're just saying like, hey players, let's cooperate with each other and figure out where we can get this game to not only satisfy our company's needs, but also your desires. It's kind of like, let's do this together kind of deal, which, yeah, I can agree. That's probably the best way to do this. It's kind of what old school's been doing for so damn long. Yeah, I feel like that's why old school's been so successful for so long now, because they're just discussing stuff with their players. Like, for example, sailing right now, for the most part, it's been going quite all right, but some players really hate sailing. And I think it's important that the community corroborates why they don't like sailing to jagex. And I think that's been going quite well for old school. But RS3's been quite opaque. Ever since, I'd say, not even since EOC and prior, it's been quite opaque on what's actually going on behind the doors, right? And I feel like that's starting to really catch up to the RS3 jagex dev team. It's really starting to decrease the player quantity because players don't really feel like they know what's happening or why this is happening, and they kind of feel jaded about it, and that's not good. So yeah, all this stuff is good. The transparency is good. This new development for jagex is good with this game. Things are still early in this process. Right now, we're prioritizing understanding the various groups of players and views identified in the survey through both a mix of deeper dive targeted surveys and focus groups. Now, I think this is something extremely important to microtransactions in the game. jagex needs to learn more about what players want or think about microtransactions in the game, because I feel like the initial survey that they had wasn't quite enough to really get a grapple with what players expect or want from jagex when it comes to microtransactions. Not to mention, it didn't really elaborate a lot about what jagex was requiring, like economically, from the player as well. So it's still kind of a little bit sparse on information. So them saying that they need to maybe survey more and do stuff along those lines is, I think, very important. Alongside this work, the team are currently working hard on defining the full plan for the community consultation that will power this process. Look for more information on that next month. Yes, I will absolutely be keeping up with the game just as I have been for the past 8 months. Me quitting definitely didn't affect me caring about the game. I for sure still do care about this game quite a lot, and I've been keeping up quite closely with what jagex has been doing. And that's why I'm making this video now, because I feel like it's important. This is a huge pivot point for, I'd say me, but I feel like a lot of players. This is a big pivot point for jagex as a whole. So yes, I will definitely be looking for that. And I'll probably post another video on that as well. As for where this all leads, that's something we'll discover through this process. Right now, we need to keep building a picture of player perspectives and use that as our baseline to build from as we consider the future of additional offerings in RuneScape. Yes, I think this is incredibly important, and it's something that old school has done quite well. They really do develop the game for the players, and that's critical. I feel like that was one of the biggest reasons that when Evolution of Combat, the update had come out in 2012 or whatever it was really not well received, because jagex was extremely opaque and it just released without any consultation with the players. Yeah, this is a big difference from now till back then. They are definitely adjusting their, I guess, view, right? They're trying to understand the players better, which is hugely important to the game's development, right? You need to understand what the players want from you as a company to give them a product they like. That's obvious, right? no duh. You gotta know what the players want to build something for them. But you know, you can sometimes get lost in it as a company. I hope that provides some important context on what's ahead of us. Thank you for anyone who shared the opinion in the recent player value survey. ModPips, jagex CEO. It's really good to see all of this. As you can tell, I'm making a video on it, so it means it's very important to me, and I hope it's important to you as well. In conclusion, I'd say this is a very good direction for jagex to be taking. I feel like this is definitely going to bring me back into the game. I'd say ever since Necromancy released, it looked downhill, like quite tremendously. As I said a very long time ago,
Neuro pass anyone? Nah, I'm just kidding. That shit sucks.
Just so you know, all the recent posts and everything that jagex has released is going to be in the description below if you're interested. Make sure to click through that. I'll give a whole understanding of everything that they've done with those posts. Yeah. Again, bye.